Falmouth.
As I head down the River Foy, I'm headed off to another river, the River Fowl, and the home of Falmouth. It should take about 6 hours to get there and hit a nice tide when I arrive.
Lots to still do, lots of fenders to take off.
Okay, successfully off the dock. We're now coming down the river. Got all the fenders and lines in. Got a little cleanup still to do. Today, start off with a reef in the main because we're going to get gusts to 20, and we'll just see if that's the right amount of sail area. Good morning, Cyclopsers. So what's going on? Well, I have left with a conservative setup because I'm going out to 1 meter seas and the forecast has puffs up to 18 or 19. So I left a reef in the main and I have my full Genoa and feeling a bit underpowered. The sea state is I'm sailing straight into the waves and I'm sailing close hauled. So it's what one would consider the least comfortable sail angle. Started with a bit of rain as I was leaving the dock. Got to use the backstay as I'm going upwind and just wanted to make sure that the mast is secured and that I flattened it out just a little bit. Thinking about shaking out the reef in the main. I think that's slowing me down big time. Well, I've switched to the full main. You know, the full main was required as the breeze is now so hovering at 10. And I'm trying to make a particular tide in Falmouth. So I'm a little cognizant of the speed. Let's give a little tour of how slow it is. It was quite bumpy on departure, but now the waves have gotten much better.
Let's check in and see how Gale's travels are going.
I have been dropped off after climbing the hill and taking the taxi. I have been dropped off at the Lost Whistle train station. And on my way here, I actually got dropped off in that town called Par, which hopefully that is an omen for next season. Walking across the Lost Whistle Bridge, first built in the 13th century. I don't think Cyclops could make it here.
When it's 50 degrees and rainy, you gotta get serious about your footwear. And boy, are my feet toasty right now. I got a little bit of need for tightening up the Genoa halyard. You can kind of see the luff is a little loose. So remember, the Genoa halyard doesn't tighten up like a normal halyard. I've got the adjuster here. So I have a little scrap of line and I'll do this at the mast winch and we'll take some ruffles out of that.
This is Gale. While Jason is bouncing around in the channel, I am happily comfortably seated on the train from Lost Whistle to Falmouth. I'm not really sure what my next form of transport will be, but we'll find out.
At starboard, when I'm beating, I get 45 degrees. On port, I get about 35. So there's a little tuning I have to do with the instruments to get that to be 40 on both. It wasn't very precise, but I will at least put a small adjustment and see if it gets better. It has been a great day to practice my hand steering. It's been 100% beating. We've had a couple of 30-degree shifts, so I've done a tack, and then just after coming out of the tack, I had a retack going upwind in this boat. Well, I'm not the greatest helmsman, but my takeaways are she actually likes to stay in the groove. Pinching mode in the waves is a pretty bad idea. So I've been sailing probably 3 degrees lower than maybe you could in flat water, maybe even more. Kept the boat speed up. Lots of boats out here, most of them under motor, but when you have a JPK, it's sort of your responsibility to keep sailing even when the breeze is, 8 knots. Got as high as 15 knots, and I thought, oh, that's about time where you'd have to reef this boat. Nope, she still felt good on her feet and probably had another knot or two of wind speed before needing to reef for sure. So I enjoy having the chart with the overlay radar. On my last boat, I used to just put radar on one side and the chart on the other side. But the overlay is nice because you can quickly identify, oh, there's a radar target. Oh, it's also this AIS. Now he's yellow, and why he's yellow is because it's considered a dangerous vessel. So meaning that there's a possible chance I hit her. And so one of the things I've been testing today are my alarms, so that on longer passages I can get woken up or disturbed by the chart plotter to things like big wind shifts, big wind speeds, and vessels that may come close. Beautiful west coast of the English Channel. So we get closer to Falmouth. And see that gray cloud up there? That's going to be trouble for me. So probably what will happen is I'll get a whole bunch of wind, probably 15 to 20, when I'm coming up the Foul River. But that's okay. We'll just chill there, and then when that goes away, then we'll pop. Sailed through a little puff, getting up to sort of 17 knots, and was hard on the wind. And what I started feeling was the mast just sort of pulsing. Quite a uncomfortable feeling. And so then I went and put a bunch of backstay on, and most of the problem was mitigated.
Back to the land adventures of Gail, I took a taxi from the train to the town of Falmouth, but since we're not docking there, the next step for me is taking a ferry across the river to a town called Flushing.
I'm about to start motoring up the Foul River. I've got my sails away, but I had a little bit of a problem putting the Genoa away. And the problem was I was storing the spinnaker halyard up on the bow pulpit, the push bit. And when I was putting the sail away, the Genoa started to try to get that halyard wrapped in, which is a really, really bad thing. Good news is I felt it on the winch and sorted it out, but that halyard will not be stored there anymore. This is the mouth of Falmouth. Over there is some classic sailing yachts with its Classics Week. Coming right in front of us is a distinctly mega yacht, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spreader sailing yacht. We got 2 professional ships there. They look like they're carrying maybe hydrocarbons, I'm not sure. And over here, what do we got? And then look at this great little lighthouse. Hello. So it's time to put out some more dock lines and fenders. I tend to put 3 on each side and 2 dock lines, stern and middle, and then the bow just 1. That gives me a lot. And then I do the whole elephant ear so that somebody can grab them if I'm lucky enough to have somebody help. But I got a decent time up the river, so maybe I'll wait a bit longer.
Okay, we've now entered the walking portion of our trip.
Very doom-like cloud. And look at all those guys helping get that barge train out to sea or wherever it's going. But I have my work to do. This guy's having a tough time with his mainsail. I've been there. Not recently, but I've been there. Just got a text from Gail. She's going to make the marina just about when I make the marina, which means she will be able to help me, which is always a huge pleasure.